Hello, everyone. Welcome to a quick fire edition of Cheap Shot Culture. We've been away for a while, and then we've been back with 2 videos in the space of a week. Yes. And this time we are back to wrestling.
Sports entertainment.
Yes. Well, depends what promotion you watch as to whether it's wrestling or sports entertainment. It's always going to be wrestling, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
There we go. How are you, mate? Are you good?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good.
Can't complain.
Good. Before we get into things then, just a quick, please, obviously, subscribe, give us a like, and also, please, if you could do the same, check out Elite Wrestling Community over on Facebook, and also their sister raffle group, Elite Wrestling Bonanza. Some great raffles that go on there with a percentage of the winners going to Mind, and also our good friends Link, Pete and Dan over at Heel Project. Catch them on, I think they've got a Facebook group. They also predominantly are on Twitch and YouTube as well. Good guys who play a lot of Minecraft and laugh at me for being rubbish at it.
Oh, that's a teacher.
Mate, I'm shocking. I am so bad.
Cool. Teacher.
Cool. Okay. Wrestling then. Where should we start? A couple of anniversaries yesterday, which we'll touch. We'll go into more later on. We had 10 years of the CM Punk pipe bomb. And also, was it 23 years since King of the Ring, Hell in a Cell, featuring Mick Foley, I think it was.
I think Undertaker.
Yeah, some guy called Undertaker. I've never heard of him before. But
I think he might do good, to be fair.
Yeah, he might have a future. We'll see. But we'll get into that later on. Should we start off with Smackdown from Saturday? Friday, Saturday,
yeah, depending if you're American or English.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think, obviously, I think that the main thing for me, the second thing we'll get to for SmackDown, I think the first thing would be a lot of matches going towards the Money in the Bank qualifying and who's going to be in the match. That continued from the Raw from the Monday, Monday or the Tuesday, depending where you're from. So, there was those matches going hard, but what we'll do is we'll touch upon the Money in the Bank in a bit. I think the standout for me was the return of this guy.
There he is.
Returning to an attacking Roman Reigns. So, massive for me to see that again. Missed him since Mania, but I think that, the right time. There was talks of him coming back. I think on July the 12th, which would have been the first SmackDown in front of a live audience. I think it is. So there was talks about him coming back then, but no, I'm pleased that he's come back with no talk of him coming back again. Very rare that you see that nowadays.
Yeah,
there was no thought for me to see it before.
Yeah, you're right. It is rare still, but they still managed to do it. Nobody knew about Rumble when he returned. Yes, we all know that you was there. But yeah, nobody knew. I remember what was the Hardys as well when they came back at Mania. Obviously, people were speculating about it. Nobody really knew. So that was a huge surprise. So they still are capable of pulling it off. Which is good. I'm glad to see him back. What's the plans for him for SummerSlam then? Is it a title match with him and Reigns?
So he's going to Money in the Bank on July the 18th, live on the WWE Network.
And also Peacock.
Or Peacock, depending where you're from. So he's having a title match with Roman Reigns at Money in the Bank.
The title match is at Money in the Bank? Right, okay.
Yeah. There's rumours that he's obviously not going to win it. Reigns is going to retain, and he's going to go into a feud with Seth Rollins at SummerSlam.
Right. I'd like to see that.
Trying to link it back to... Yeah, I think people are linking it back to when... I don't know if you can remember. I can't remember the year. Survivor Series when Trips and Steph got fired because of Sting coming out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the only person who could bring the authority back was John Cena. And Seth was threatening to stamp on Edge's head.
Yeah.
And this is at the point of that. So a lot of people are thinking that they're going to be using that as sort of a feud for it at SummerSlam. I'd like to see him hold the title again, mainly just because of the side plates. But yeah, it'd be good. I'd love to see him win the title, but I don't think it's going to happen, and especially with it being at Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
But crazier things have happened. First pay-per-view since Mania in front of fans.
True.
Do they want that payoff?
I don't see it happening. I think maybe they might extend the feud on to SummerSlam, and then Reigns drops the title to Edge, and then Edge gets into something with Rollins. I think that's where I'm going with it. Unfortunately, it's going to bypass Cesaro again, who is still on fire at the moment, and that needs to be said. But so is Rollins.
I know that they're still feuding, Cesaro and Rollins. They were a mixed tag match on Smackdown.
Yeah.
For me, obviously, I think Cesaro will end up getting a shot, and rightfully so. It's just, I just don't know where they're going to run with it and who's going to take the title off Reigns, because, me personally think they're building up to a Mania with probably The Rock.
So do you think what's the possibility of it getting that far then, and it is Reigns and Rock at Mania, and who goes over?
So Reigns goes over, and I think if you asked me that question like 3 years ago, I would have gone, "Oh, Reigns goes over," but he's unbelievable. Like that they can't. And what I love about this character, and again, people might shoot me for this, and when I say similarities between him and when CM Punk had Paul Heyman, because both of them don't need him in terms of mic work, but it works. Where Lesnar needed him for mic work, and obviously it worked. But Punk and Reigns don't need him; they can handle themselves. Which is again crazy to think Roman Reigns can do a promo after the first couple of years that he was around. But it just works. Heyman does most of the talking, Reigns just chimes in. The character's unbelievable. The work with the Usos is phenomenal.
Who have also come into their own since this has been going on with Reigns. I always remember when they first started, they were a bit gimmicky, and Rikishi's sons. Yeah. But now you don't think of that. Yeah, they are very much out there on their own, doing their own thing and doing really well, I think.
I don't know. There's people talk about WWE not winning and not talking to fans and speaking to fans and listening to fans, which we will again probably get to when we get to a certain company. But I think you look at the work they're doing with Roman Reigns and what he does, and people will say that they're losing the touch, but when they're pulling out a character like they've done with him, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I do think it'll end up going with The Rock. I think all the work with the tribal chief, head of the table, about the family, you don't do that if you're not gonna bring someone in like that.
No.
There's rumours that they could be adding a woman to the sort of, they may run a faction, like the bloodline as they call themselves. So Reigns, the Usos, obviously we're still waiting for that to finalise, because we've at the moment still only got one Uso. The other one sort of doesn't know what he's doing. But there's a rumour that a female could come in.
Is there any talk of who that might be? Because the only one I could potentially think of it being is Tamina.
So there was
or
talks of Tamina.
Rock's daughter.
So there was Tamina, Nia Jax as well,
Yeah,
being
yeah,
obviously the cousins.
yeah,
But obviously direct cousin to The Rock, not Roman Reigns and the Usos, and because they are cousins, but they're like the opposite side of the family tree.
yeah. It's a
The
bit,
way it works.
yeah, a bit confusing.
But Nia Jax is a genuine like cousin to The
Yeah,
Rock, like a genuine one from that side of the family tree. And then obviously there is the slight talk of it being The Rock's daughter, but I just don't see that. I don't see that unless she was just going to be there as like an enforcer type person. You know, if a woman attacks, she just gets involved slightly. I don't see them throwing her straight onto the main roster without
no, I
having
don't
that
either.
sort of like NXT run.
No.
But again, they might not add a woman at all. You know, plans change, but it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah,
Before we move on to anything else, and the reason why I'm sticking with this is because if the talks of Roman Reigns, there's a rumor that at SummerSlam Cena is going to be facing the Reigns. Again, do you? In my head, would the say Edge wins at the Universal Championship at Money in the Bank? Say Reigns takes a couple of weeks off and was like, "Oh my god, well, you know, Edge maybe concertos, brutalizes, and he goes away for like a couple of weeks." Cena, then we go back in time in a time bubble. 10. We go back 15 years, and Edge and Cena have a quick feud. Cena wins the title. He gets his moment with being the champ, and then Reigns knocks them off at SummerSlam.
don't think I want
No,
that. No,
just throwing stuff out there. I
don't
just
think I
really
want
want
that.
Edge to win a title. To be
No,
fair,
for me, I can see it going the way it did with Rock and Cena. I think it will. I can potentially see it going to Mania. Rock and Cena, Rock and Reigns. Rock goes over.
yeah,
Cena, Rock goes. Oh Christ, Reigns goes away for a bit. That's when he gets his little break, and then he comes back, and there's a big, maybe not so much another year program as there was with Cena, but I think he does then drop the belt back to Reigns. Um, I don't know. I don't want to see Cena get that 17th. I think it has to stay at 16. I think different, very, very different eras, very, very different wrestlers, but so big at their times. I think Flair and Cena deserves that 16. If anybody is ever going to beat, I want to see Orton do it. So that's my take on it.
okay.
I can understand why it's appealing to some, but for me, I don't want that. I don't want Cena winning the 17th title. I don't want him to be out there on his own. No, I don't.
Okay.
It's me. But
I
there
don't
you
care.
go. Sorry.
No, that's fine. So, that was probably the biggest thing on SmackDown. Seeing Edge come back, and I need to touch upon it actually because it made me laugh. I'm not gonna lie. My last thing on it. I love the guy, but SmackDown finished with him attacking the Uso. Still don't know which one. And Reigns, Reigns is at the top of the ramp, and Edge was staring into the hard cameras that screaming, "Where are you? Where are you, Reigns?" And I was sat there thinking, just literally look to your right. He's at the top of the ramp.
Yeah.
I just didn't get it.
In moments of brilliance, there's the moments of
Yeah,
okay.
and that was one of them. I just couldn't get my head around it, but hey ho.
Is Raw
Um,
getting better or not? Are we masked
uh,
by how good Riddle and Orton are together at the moment? And is that basically keeping that show going?
so you know what? I think it's not when you compare Raw to SmackDown, for example. There's a huge difference in it, obviously, and don't know. Last night we will touch upon it. Some spoilers for when we get onto it. The matches are all right, especially one last night. I thought, and a great, sort of spots in it, and it's all right. I think when you compare it to SmackDown, you can see the big differences in it. SmackDown had a Hell in a Cell match the week before with Reigns facing Ray just before the pay-per-view. Rumour has it that the USA Network weren't too happy that Fox were given such a big match, and that's probably why Lashley faced Xavier Woods in the Hell in a Cell on the Raw.
Wasn't bad.
No, tells a story leading into their Money in the Bank match. Again, I'm not going to lie, I didn't see if that was announced last night, so spoilers if you didn't know that Lashley was facing Kofi Kingston at Money in the Bank. But yeah, they've been feuding for a bit now, and I'm just glad not to see Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley fighting again for the umpteenth time on Monday Night Raw. And I think that's where the issue lies with Raw. You're seeing the same feud, same matches week in, week out.
You could say the same for SmackDown, really. It's just got something extra. And I think if there's a need for Cena anywhere at the moment, and if there is a legitimate time for him to come back, I think it needs to be now, and I think it does need to be Raw, because maybe he would then give it that extra boost that it needs. I think it's lethargic at times, and it's outdated, whereas SmackDown seems to be more current. If that makes sense.
Think, and this is a weird thing to say when you're looking at the top guys on Monday Night Raw, but I know we touched upon this in our first video 15 years ago, and we touched upon that Rollins, Reigns, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, these former champs, are all on SmackDown and having a great time, where Raw seems to be, and I'm just naming some people off the top of my head. Rhea Ripley, brand new to the main roster. Damian Priest, brand new to the main roster. The Miz and John Morrison. Obviously, the Miz is unfortunately injured, and I'll touch upon the Miz in a bit because I still think he's great. But you've got these newer stars, and they're trying to make something from them. We're finally seeing a bit of a feud for Elias again. And I think they're just trialing something when you compare it to SmackDown, when you're seeing Reigns facing Rollins, Reigns versus Daniel Bryan, Edge, Rollins, Cesaro. I don't know, people say Bianca Belair's new to the roster, but she's unbelievable.
You don't,
her feud with Bayley.
Feel like, I get it. She doesn't come across as a newbie. I get
character works on the main roster where maybe Damian Priest doesn't. So I think there's that added bit with Raw. They still got some great stuff. They got Styles, and he's phenomenal. Bargain the pun.
Can't put a foot wrong when anything he does. It's always great to watch. It's the rest around him. I think that's. What's the best way to describe it then? If you could put a word on it. I can't think. I think how you've described it is.
It's like putting Ronaldo in North Macedonia.
Yeah.
In a way, you're putting, say, like Ronaldo and Messi in North Macedonia, asking them to go and win the Euros. That type of thing.
Yeah. It's a good analogy.
Got some big stars, they're just not going to run the show for you. But in terms of Raw, and again, this is probably where, spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
So last night we seen, it was advertised as Drew McIntyre versus Orton versus Styles. For whatever reason, we don't know why Orton couldn't make it, or Orton wasn't there, and we still don't know why. So he decided to do an over-the-top battle royal. Winner goes into the triple threat match, and who gets into the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Matt Riddle is unbelievable.
He's so
And
good.
he Burns asked to get into the Money in the Bank ladder, the Battle Royal with a letter that was apparently from Orton. It, oh, I, people, you know what? It's a PG show, yet the premise of Matt Riddle is that he's constantly high and he doesn't know what he's doing. He is so good.
He is good. He is good. I do enjoy what he does, and I think as a team, I think RK Bro are brilliant. Orton can work with anybody and make anybody look good.
Yeah.
But that doesn't take away from how good Riddle has been as well. They are
So
good.
again, spoilers. So Riddle wins the over the top battle royal, goes into the triple threat match, and
Yeah.
he is so close to winning it for Orton. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but his RKO was unbelievable.
It was.
It was so good, and obviously he was so close to winning it. But unfortunately for him, and well, more for Orton, Drew McIntyre ended up winning it.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, as much as I'm slightly getting bored of Drew McIntyre, slightly, I do love it when he hits a Claymore. It's
Yeah.
still really good.
Yeah.
So
He's lost
currently
his
in
way
that
a bit
match,
since he's lost. Sorry to interrupt. He's lost his way a bit since losing the title, hasn't he? He's
yeah,
faded into the bit. Yeah. Hopefully, this might give him a bit of a push again.
yeah. I don't want him to win it, but we'll.
No, I don't want him to win.
So in the match so far, we have Ricochet
Right.
versus John Morrison versus Riddle versus Big E versus Drew McIntyre versus either Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn, who face each other this Friday live on BT Sport or Peacock, I think. I don't know how they want. Oh, Fox, live on Fox in
Yeah.
America, in the last man standing match on a Friday night SmackDown, Saturday morning SmackDown. Unbelievable. The match is going to be amazing. Don't know why it's the last man standing match, but it is going to be amazing. First of all, who's winning out of Owens and Zayn?
Zayn.
Okay, I'm going for Owens.
Okay.
And obviously, there's still two more people to be added to the Money in the Bank, and we don't know
Yeah.
who they are yet. Out of the names so far, who do you want to win? Who do you think's going to win?
Big E.
Is that who you want to win, or who you think's going to win?
Both, I think.
Okay.
It's both. You don't split a team so over as New Day. Don't split them up without an end result. And yes, I know he's been IC champ, and still is.
Nope.
No, right? Is it
Apollo
still?
Cruises.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's the next logical step for Big E and breaking up the New Day.
Okay.
I think that should be where it finishes. Yeah, I'd like to see it. Whether he cashes in or not, or whether he gets screwed over like Otis did. Thank God. Will remain to
Which,
be
by
seen.
the way, I really enjoyed that match. I know we're going back a year, but it was such a weird way of doing a Money in the Bank. I hated the winner, but it was just a really interesting way of doing a different way of doing a Money in the Bank. They couldn't do it in front of a crowd. They didn't want to do it at like the performance center. I think they were moving from the headquarters there, weren't they? So I think they were just going, sod it, let's just do one
Yeah,
last.
I think so.
And I just thought it was funny. It had humour in it. When I don't know if it was Styles and Bryan fought and went into Vince McMahon's office and he was sat there. Yeah, it just added. I just thought it was a different way of doing it. But I am glad it's going back to the normal route and stuff. But yeah, I just thought it was quite interesting. Anyway, for me, I'd probably want Big E to win it. I probably think I just got a feeling they'll give it to Drew McIntyre, but I'd love for Big E to win it. He deserves it. His character's still amazing. He's so funny. The rumor going round is that because obviously I think it's after SummerSlam, they're doing another draft.
Yeah,
And the
I've
rumor
heard
is that
that.
he's actually going to end up going to Raw.
Right?
So if he goes to Raw and Kofi and Xavier stays on Raw, do they sort of still do the singles runs as they've been doing? Or so obviously, or Kofi and Woods are still the tag team, Big E's the singles competitor, but they run like still as the New Day.
Yeah, we could be back in the position where a tag team or faction or whatever you want to call them have all the belts. That might
Yeah.
work. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
But again, we don't know what's going to happen
No.
with the other with Woods and Kofi. But I like to see Big E. I think he deserves it. But I'm just looking forward to seeing Ricochet in a ladder match.
I'll wait and see the other two. I might change my mind. I don't know yet.
Very quickly, again, spoilers from last night. If no one's seen it, watch Ricochet, John Morrison. The Miz is injured and he's still working like every week, which is only a testament to him.
Yeah.
He's still really funny. There was a bit where Ricochet did like a somersault over Miz's chair. Like he stood on Miz's arm of the wheelchair, then did a flip, and it was just unbelievable. And the match finished in a double count out, which on paper you'd go, well, that's rubbish.
Yeah.
But it ended with Morrison sitting on the barricade and Ricochet did a crossbody from the ring onto Morrison, and they both fell from the barricade behind into where the fans would be. When the camera went over, you couldn't see any crash mats. So if there was no crash mats, fair play to both of them for taking it.
Right.
But yeah, go and watch the end of it. The crossbody was unbelievable.
Sound. He's good,
That's my
Ricochet.
take on
I'm
Ricochet.
I'm surprised he's maybe not surprised. I'm relieved in a way that he's missed the cuts and he's still around. And shall we say bye to Breezango as well?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I know you messaged me the other day and you weren't too fussed about it.
Still not asked. No.
I like them. But for me, I just like the fact that they added humour to when they needed it. Fandango was over at one point just because of the theme music. Tyler Breeze, in NXT, he had some great matches. He was in the four guys that came on Raw, which was sort of like unheard of at the time. It was Neville, Zayn, Breeze, and the Italian fella. Forgot his name. That's awful by me.
Me?
Tyson Kidd. There we go.
Oh, it's me.
The four of them came out of a match on Monday Night Raw, which was again never seen before. I think they're gonna. I just thought it was a weird cut. We've seen some weird releases recently.
Yeah, Killian. I think I was more upset about Killian Dane, to be honest.
Did you hear about his release where he was when he found out?
No.
He was training in the performance center.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No.
I thought he was good. I liked what he was doing in NXT.
Yeah.
As I say, I felt more for that one than I did the other two, and I'm sure Nikki Cross did too. Speaking of NXT, how cool is it to see the $1 million belt over in NXT?
Yeah,
and them making it legit as well. I like it. I like NXT.
It was such a weird thing.
Eh?
It was just a really weird thing to see.
Yeah, it's good to see. a different legend back, I think, in terms of the $1 Million Man. I know Jake's back over at AEW. I'd kind of prefer him to be here.
A former WWE legend is over at AEW.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I was surprised.
Yeah. Shocked.
Still pulling the punches, aren't they? Still having a go. Eddie Kingston coming out and having a rant. The next in line of many that's done it that they said that they never would do. Look, I know there's lots and lots of people that enjoy what AEW does, and to be fair, they do pull off some awesome matches. And the only one I have seen recently was the Omega and Jungle Boy one from the 26th Friday, was it? I think Saturday. That was a good match, and I can't highly recommend it enough. Get on it, give it a watch. But they go back and they do the sneaky little digs and yet more ex-WWE wrestlers coming over. And then I'm like, just be your own thing. Don't worry about what you're doing, what other people are doing. Just be you. Just get on with it.
And for me, you know what? People were gonna, people leave companies and stuff, and that happens. We could look at WWE and go, oh, look at all the ex-TNA people or ex-Ring of Honor people you've got over there. And that is true, and I get that. I think my biggest issue is not seeing the revival turn up, because that was always going to happen, or FTR, whatever they're called now. When Dean Ambrose left and went back to being John Mox, that was going to happen. We just knew it was going to happen. For me, and again, like Sean Spears and whatnot, my biggest issue is not them guys. It's Big Show, Mark Henry, Sting. And I know Sting wasn't a WWE guy, so to speak, because he was only over there for a bit.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's seeing them, Andrade, great, amazing. Why is Vicky Guerrero there? What does she add? You know what I mean? It's them that I just can't get my head round. I think Chris Jericho said on an interview when it first started, this isn't a place for any old WWE person to just show up. You have to, we're very particular who we get, and you could go down the roster and 95% of the roster of all left WWE and go straight to AEW.
Yeah.
And Taz, again, I know people will say that he's more of an ECW guy, which is right, but he spent years on the commentary team at Smackdown.
Yeah.
It won't be long until Ric Flair shows his face, and that's what I'm just waiting for. It won't be long now. It's that aspect of it that I just, Jericho's amazing. And I know he didn't go from WWE to straight to AEW. He went to New Japan. He made his own character over there, and I get it. But for him to sit there and take digs at a company that without that company would he be where he is an absolute joke. Eddie Kingston turned down WWE. Get over yourself.
Yeah.
It's that aspect I just don't get. And I don't want to piss off AEW fans, because you know what, the wrestling would be amazing, and no doubt about it. Is that Orange Cassidy? Is that his name?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be amazing. Never really watched a match of his, but he's supposed to be amazing, and he's going to pull off some great matches. I've seen Darby Allin, amazing wrestler. You're going to get top matches out of Kenny Omega and John Moxley. You're going to get amazing matches out of them. The wrestling, I have no doubt, is amazing.
Yeah.
It's the little things, like an executive vice president holding titles. Yeah, WWE put a title on the main guy, and the wrestling community shoots them down. That's the bit that I just don't. It's like Triple H giving himself the NXT champ title. It
Yeah,
just, for me,
I get what you mean. And I think especially when he said it was something that they wouldn't necessarily do. But like you say, from a wrestling point of view,
yeah.
it's they are you can really argue that the better matches of the year so far have come from AEW. And I don't think
Oh,
that's unfair to
definitely.
say at all. So I think if they get the balance right, I think I've read somewhere recently that the viewership is down. Um, whether I've misread that, if you guys can let us know in the comments if you've heard the same or whether I've misheard it. I'm sure viewership is down for AEW. But as I say, you can really argue that so far this year, the better matches, the majority have come from AEW. So
Yeah,
for what it
that's
does bad,
amazing. Yeah.
it certainly does good. Cool. So
Um,
which one should we go into first then? Should we do a pipe bomb or should we do Hell in a Cell?
um, so can I just touch upon one very, very quick thing that we've just
No,
absolutely just went past completely?
no.
Um, Samoa Joe back.
Yeah,
So he
Samoa
got
Joe back.
released. He was in the first lot of releases that I think we spoke about last time with
Yeah,
Billy Kay and stuff like that. And obviously we've seen, unfortunately, the likes of Aleister Black and Braun Strowman go, which is unbelievable. But Samoa Joe gets released, and then a month later, 2 months later, he then shows back up on NXT.
so do you know the story?
I've heard the story last night.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it was last night or the night before. So he texted a load of people, didn't he? So
Yeah.
like say thanks for what you've done and enjoy working with you, this, that, and the other. And Triple H was one of them. And I think he texted him back and said, "Hang on a bit, I'm just doing something, and I'll phone you." And he's basically said, "I want you back. I'm going to work on it. Leave it with me." And then 2 months later, he's back.
Yeah, apparently
Which is good.
within hours of being released, he was basically re-signed.
Yeah,
Unheard of.
yeah. Just goes to show just how well thought of he is in the business.
Yeah.
I'd love to have seen him hold the title in WWE. Why did that never happen?
Oh, that feud with Styles should have happened.
Yeah.
He was so good. Held his own against Lesnar. And promos as well. That was unbelievable. He's so good.
The only one to sort of like legitimately look like I think he could beat Lesnar.
Yeah.
Without a million curb stomps and Superman punches and all that kind of stuff. And I think he could legitimately beat him by just like choking him out. Perhaps then, yeah, it would have been his time to hold the title. But I'm glad he's back. And I'm sure he'll continue to do well over at NXT.
I'm fingers crossed we see him return in the ring as well.
Hopefully, yeah. I don't think it will. Hopefully.
Oh, no, he mentioned that it's something that he's working on.
Okay. Well, that'd be good to see. Hopefully that happens then.
Yeah, so sorry to interrupt you when you were trying to segue us onto our next 2 points.
I'm going to make you do some maths now. How old was you when King of the Ring, Hell in a Cell?
4.
He was 4.
4 years old.
So you're not going to remember it then, are you?
Nope.
Whereas I would have been, 14, 15 then? Unbelievably that, yes, I am 10 years older than Bob. Although I certainly don't look.
I've had a rough paper round, haven't I? Jesus.
I remember it. So me and my sister, and sometimes my dad would get up and watch all the pay-per-views. And I distinctly remember Hell in the Cell. And I cannot believe it's 23 years since it happened. I think it's in my top 5 matches of all time. I think just for the sheer brutality of it. I remember seeing obviously Foley go over the cell, and I wasn't nervous for him. I wasn't worried. I didn't think he would be hurt because around that time there was big bumps happening. So I thought, yeah, this is cool. Wow, I can't believe it. But I wasn't concerned for him or anything. I think JR sold it so well. What freaked me out, which I think freaks a lot of people out, which obviously, as we know, it wasn't supposed to happen, was when he came through the cage. Then I shit myself. Then I thought, oh, you're in trouble here. Looking back on it now, when you've seen it, what's your thoughts on it?
Um, so obviously, I think probably number one in any Hell in a Cell spot that we've ever seen,
Yeah,
and probably will ever see.
won't ever be beaten. No, 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 no.
And I know we've seen like Shane McMahon jump from the top and land, and I know we've seen stuff like that. But just for the sheer someone throwing someone off,
thrown, yeah,
and it looked like I've seen now, and I recently watched his Broken Skull session with Stone Cold, so he goes into a lot more detail with that. But I think for yourself watching that live, and probably I don't know if you're at that point knowing that it was scripted and whatnot, just to see, and if you did, maybe the people who didn't believe that it was scripted, or the people who were still real to them, god damn it, they would probably be, like you said, legitimately thinking, oh my god, some guy who supposedly is dead is just threw a guy who, like, off, just another guy at the top of you just wouldn't know. And then to see the cage be risen while
yeah. So
Taker's
you
still
could
on
get him
top of
out
it.
while Taker's still on the top. Yeah, yeah.
It looks like a shit. It doesn't look like it was supposed to happen.
No.
And I think, again, that you're like, oh my god, what's happening? And then for him to come back out, was just
So did in the session with Stone Cold, does he talk about how the second bump happened and why they decided to do it, given that they knew beforehand, before he threw him off the top, that the cage top was breaking apart? Did he mention that at all? Because it always made me wonder whether you knew it wasn't safe. Why did you do it?
Yeah, so we talked about the fact that when they were doing the cage stuff, and he knew the match was coming up, he wanted to do something that would stand out. He wanted to do something, like you said the other day to me, it's crazy that he thought he had to do that to prove himself,
Yeah.
and make himself look good.
Yeah.
And he said he lied to Vince, and he lied to Taker, and said, yeah, I've done this before, don't worry about it. I've been thrown off, something like that, don't worry about it. Never has done. He just lied to them and said he did. So, it happened, and they were up there, and he said when they're walking, apparently you can hear, if you listen very closely, you can hear the ping of like the stuff coming off.
Yeah, you can.
And all he really touches upon was obviously after he got thrown off, and they put the cage on, they took his mask off when they were taking him back. And he said that was a bit strange, because then he wasn't a character, he was a person, which he said it added to it.
Yeah.
And all he really said was, if I can go back out, if I can get up and I can walk back out, then I'm doing it, and we're going to go for it. He doesn't really say why they didn't change it. But yeah, he said it wasn't supposed to happen. He fell through.
So obviously he's supposed to take the bump.
Yeah.
But he's not supposed to go through.
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to go through the roof and land where he did. And I think he said, like, obviously Terry Funk come out. I don't know if Vince come out. I can't remember. But anyway,
I think I remember seeing Sergeant Slaughter was there.
Yeah, Slaughter. Yeah, I think he called him Sarge on it. It was quite funny. So they all run out to obviously check on him. And if the very first scene that you see, I don't know if it was just that they had the special clip for that. Maybe I'd have to watch it back. Was the first thing they did with Foley was they checked his pulse.
Yeah.
The very first thing they did was is he alive? And he basically, what he touched upon was the fact that his brother and sister used to record it. So they used to watch it at home, record it so the mum could watch Foley's matches the day after. And his brother went, "You're not watching it," and
Wow.
told her she wasn't watching it.
No.
So yeah, they then obviously checked his pulse, taken and dropped from the cell with a broken ankle.
Yeah.
What a man!
Yeah.
Obviously finished the match.
Thumbtacks, everything.
Yeah, and then
Or
he then
drawing
went
pins
back.
for us UK people.
Yeah,
Drawing
drawing
pins.
pins. He went backstage
Yeah.
and then come back out in
Comes
the
out for
main
the main
event.
event, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. It's you're never going to stop talking about it. As I say, for me, it's not the prettiest match. It's not your Dave Meltzer 5-star Kenny Omega style matches, but that doesn't mean to say that's what needs to happen for an iconic match to be iconic. It's it's in my top 5. An amazing part of that era, and just wrestling as a whole, I think. So how
For me,
old? What?
very quickly, for anyone who's not watched Mick Foley's Broken Skull session with Austin, please go and watch it.
Watch both of them.
It
Yeah,
is,
both of
it's
them are really
so
good.
funny. It's really good.
I haven't seen the second one yet. I know you have. But I'll try and get into that. So if you was for Hell in a Cell, how old was you for the pipe bomb?
17.
17. So you remember this one a bit more then?
So I don't know if I did, but I want to say I probably watched it live.
Yeah.
So where you watched the King of the Ring live, I definitely seen this Raw like on TV at the time. And the match following that at the Money in the Bank 10 years ago, that's in my top 5
Right.
matches
Okay.
of all time. The Punk
Yeah.
and Cena, just more for the crowd, the
I get that.
storyline and whatnot. But yeah, I think as before you start learning the ins and the outs of that scenario.
Yeah.
Yes, we know promos are scripted. Yes, we know, no one gets away with anything now on live TV for WWE. We know that. But watching that live, and to be fair, watching it back still makes you go, wow, they allowed him to say that.
Yeah.
And
I think it also says a lot for the delivery of the promo that you legitimately thought it was real, which it isn't. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, so we know that they the company that she brought him in that day and went, at the end of this match, you're going to go out and you can say whatever you want. So yes, we know probably what he said wasn't scripted.
Yeah.
We know that. But people who think that he went out there without permission and did it are wrong. He was told he could go out and say whatever he wanted. It was probably more so what he said, Vince McMahon, is the company going to be better with it when Vince McMahon's dead? Again, no one ever said anything like that.
No.
Do you want to see him back?
No. I think the moment's long gone, and I think if he's going to turn up anywhere, it would be AEW. I think.
So, yeah.
No.
Of course, he would add something, and he would bring a lot of fans back. I just don't think at this present moment, unless there was a massive shake-up in the creative, he's never going to come back.
I don't think so. No.
There is a rumour. Oh, not a rumour. That's a lie. He's outright said it. Shock horror. He's not going to hold back. He wants to do a Broken Skull session with Stone Cold. But they're going to have to pay him a lot of money for him to do it. I think they'll do it.
I hope
they allowed Jericho to do it, which was again unheard of.
Yeah.
The fact that the AEW title was shown on the WWE network, shocking, never seen.
Yeah.
There was talks with do a partnership with New Japan, never before seen.
Yeah.
I think they'll do it.
I hope so. It would be interesting to listen
to. It'd be so good.
What did the the promo do for the business? Did it bring any changes? Did it leave any mark on like the next 10 years for you? Did it just cement his legacy as, at that time, the best in the world, which he undoubtedly was?
Yeah, it added something, didn't it? It made probably people like Alex Daniel Bryan be more accepted as a WWE champion.
Yeah, I accept that. Yeah.
So yeah, I think more for that, but never before seen a promo like that. Obviously,
No.
maybe the Steve Austin's when the infamous promo, but never before seen in that era anyway. It just put eyes on the company again.
So, anything else that you want to discuss before we go, or?
No, I think it was nice to get talking about wrestling again.
Wrestling.
And just looking forward to tonight's England game.
It's coming home. James is saying it's coming home. He's never shuts up about it. And if you've seen his Instagram today, he's got a video of him in his work van dancing to Three Lions. So, yes, hopefully by the time our next football video comes out, we will be in the quarters. We shall see. But cheers, mate. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the video today. Anything you want us to discuss wrestling-wise in the future, drop your suggestions in the comments. Don't forget to check out Elite Wrestling Community and Elite Wrestling Bonanza, and also the guys over at Heel Project. Thank you very much, and we shall see you soon.